This episode is brought to you by the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge and Small Business Shopping Directory. It's a commitment to make 1 in 5 of your purchases from a small business online or offline. So head to shop1in5.com to take the pledge. And friend, while you are there, check out and shop from hundreds of small businesses in the Small Business Shopping Directory. It's the go-to directory to discover, support, and shop small businesses all in one place. Head to shop1in5.com.
Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we help product-based businesses grow their sales and improve their strategies.
Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to my co-host and biz bestie, Mina Kunlo-Sitep, an Amazon guru that has built a multi-six-figure product-based business.
And introducing the other half of the Product Boss, Jacqueline Snyder. She has helped launch and grow over 500 fashion apparel and accessory brands, even one of her own.
And together, we share our inventory of secret weapons that will help you dig deep and do the work it takes.
Are you ready? Let's build together.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Product Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Jacqueline Snyder, with my awesome co-host, Mina Kunlo-Sitep. Hey, Mina.
Hey, Jacqueline.
All right, friends. So this podcast is going to be like what do they call that? Like a head, like a boomerang. What do they call it? Like when you're in an accident, your head whiplash. It's a whiplash episode.
Oh, okay.
Because last week...
feel like this explanation needs an explanation.
Because last week we talked about not relying too heavily on social media, or ways like alternative backup ways for all of you to think about, well, when social media goes down, what do we do, right? And we gave you some strategies there. But today's episode is, like I said, the whiplash. We're back on social media. And what we want to do is we want to talk to you about this major trend and prediction that we see and we've seen become stronger and stronger and stronger. Kind of 2020 sort of kicked it off. 2021, we are seeing it grow. And we predict that in 2022 and beyond, this is going to be a major selling trend for all of you, selling your products. And what that is called is social selling. Some people call it social retail. It could be dubbed social commerce, but we're going to call it social selling, and how you can use social selling to grow your business.
Yeah. And I think overall, we hear it called social selling. It's usually done within service-based industry. But even when, thinking about like my traditional education, right? MBA and stuff, this is called relationship marketing. But now it's cool and it's called social selling, So relationship marketing essentially is word of mouth, building relationships and cultivating them to buy from you. Well, now that there's this huge dependency on social media and people actually selling to each other, now there comes what we call is this trend of social selling, but it's always been there. It's just a new platform is being built and it's been dubbed something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, we've incorporated it into our service-based business. A lot of you get messages from us on social media, right? Like when we are pushing something, promoting something, we are in the DMs actually communicating individually with our customers. And we don't use bots. It's real people, right? And that's the idea. I feel like there was this switch over a few years back. There was this time where we tried to disconnect from the customer. We tried to distance ourselves as much as possible. It felt like to have a big business, like needed to have a gatekeeper. Like you have a secretary that you talk to, and then, maybe you're let in to talk to that person. But you all know that if we DM people on Instagram, it's typically that person in their inbox. So for example, like actors and celebrities, you can DM them, influencers, you can DM them, the business owners, and also the consumer. You can reach people in direct messages and through social media.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, before it used to be done through the telephone, right? The cell phones and calling people up. And now it's like, it's done through the DMs and you build a relationship on there because like Jacqueline said, you have instant access to your customer. It's done all through social. So social being Instagram and Facebook. And we're just going to stick with those because those are really where we're seeing, people selling in those arenas.
Yeah. And in 2019, it was 2019, I think I was asked to speak on the stage at BizChicks Live about selling, sales, and selling in the DM. Because this is something, DM direct messages for all of you out there. But this is something that we were doing probably originating the Product Boss, right? But and like Mina said, it's something that we've seen in service-based businesses, but it's now switching over, and product-based businesses, right? E-commerce stores and all that, using social media as a tool in their business. We say it's sort of like a CRM, a customer relationship management. It doesn't have as much of the back end, like where you can track things, but it gives you direct access the same way that email lists do. It also gives you direct access. Again, like I said, it's kind of like one of those things where like, wait, last week we were talking about building email lists, but this is a trend and prediction and thing that we're seeing. And we want to talk to you about social selling, what it is, and 3 ways in which you might be able to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get started.
Okay. So when we talk about social selling, it's social from social media perspective, right? You're meeting people. You've all seen it happen with influencers, for example. An influencer goes on and they're like, hey friends, okay, this is my influencer. Hey everyone, this is my coffee that I'm drinking. Make sure to swipe up if you want to get your coffee, right? And
terrible. Just kidding.
That might be my voice on Instagram too. But it's the idea of like they had affiliate income attached to things that they're promoting. These influencers are technically retailers for you as product-based business owners, right? So a lot of you think about collaborating with influencers because ultimately the same way that you might sell to a brick and mortar shop, you can also sell to an influencer to help promote, right? Like maybe they're affiliates with you, but they're also getting in front of an audience and they're talking about it and they're selling it. But all of you have an audience, whether it's I don't care how big your Instagram following is, 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, whatever it is, you still have an audience that you have direct connection with that you can connect with. So whether it's on Instagram or whether it's on Facebook, you have the ability to connect with people. So what we want to do is we want to talk to you about how you can sell using social media, using the tools that you have, and actually results that you can have that are pretty incredible. And it doesn't have to be like a gazillion people that follow you to have results.
Yeah. Not everybody's going to see your post anyways, but I do think that there is some sort of advantage of having a smaller audience when you're dipping your toe into something new that not everybody sees it. It feels less overwhelming than if you had like this gigantic audience and you feel concerned with how to go about this trend of social selling, right? But essentially, this is literally just going on social and selling, right? So you have your audience, but a lot of times now you have an intention behind it. You are getting them to know you, like you, and trust you. But when you social sell, you literally are building a relationship with them in order to understand, how do I buy from this person is what the customer is starting to understand from you.
So social selling, right? You can use social media to sell. Also, you can sell in your posts, you can sell in your reels, you can sell in stories. I know this sounds obvious, but we have to say it. But here's where we follow a lot of you on social media, and this is where we see the disconnect. A lot of you are not using a call to action. A CTA, a call to action. So when you're putting in these efforts on a social media, are you having a call to action for any of your customers to do anything, right? Discover more, learn more, buy now, shop now, link in bio to shop, right? Or if you're selling on Instagram, right? You're telling them like, click the link, or you have you've linked it to sell on Instagram or on Facebook. So a lot of times I think you all miss the idea of the point of you posting is to have a call to action. It could be as simple as, put a happy face emoji in the comments. That's like a really simple call to action, which a lot of you need to do initially. Like you need them to start to just respond to you and train your customers. And then the next step is, shop now, discover more, learn more, buy now, check it out. And tell them where to go.
Yeah. And especially with social, because we want you to show up as a business, right? So you're not the general consumer that's perusing and you are on there scrolling the feed and doing who knows what. I mean, basically what all of us do.
Watching all the reels.
Yeah, watching all the reels, reading whatever. But there's intention behind it, right? You get on there for a certain amount of time. You proactively sell to your customers. They understand where they need to go to buy from you. They understand why they're buying from you and what you're known for. And it becomes a channel for you to be able to communicate with them. The nice thing is that since Instagram has direct messages, they don't have to give you your email or they don't have to give you their email. They don't have to give you their phone. They literally are reachable literally on social media via DM or, they're simply watching your story or see your post.
And remember, this is just one of the many strategies that we will all teach you about marketing and sales, right? So last week you said email list and directory and having people talk about you. And this week you're like, wait, we're talking about social. Yeah, because social does exist. And this is just another tool to connect with your customers. So we want you to use social media to pull the right customers into you. Right? We want you to be able to pull them. We want you to interact with your customers and we want you to be able to sell to them. So you can sell to them in a bunch of different ways and we're going to get into that. And so one of the first ways, I guess, should we jump into the first way?
Yeah. Let's do this.
Is a poll. So I actually did a reel a few weeks back. If you go to follow us at The Product Boss and you go back to our reels, one of these reels, it was called how to make 10 sales right now using Instagram. So it was a poll that I was like, this is what you do. Okay. You create a story in your stories and you say, have you ever purchased from my business before or from the shop before or from my small business? Have you ever purchased before? And in the poll, it said yes or not yet. Do you see how I said not yet? I didn't say no. I said not yet because it future casts for them that they will eventually become a customer for you.
Yeah. It's a this or that poll essentially.
Yes or no. Yes or not yet. And so everyone that tapped on that poll, if they tapped, yes, I have bought from you before in the DM. So you'll see it, right? When you look at your story and your story insights, it tells you all the people that tapped yes. You'll go in and you'll send them each a personal DM that's like, hey, thank you so much for ordering from my small business. I would love, and taking this poll, I'd love to offer you a coupon for your next purchase. Here, use code, I don't know, Reels15 for 15% off, and make sure to use that coupon code in the next 24 hours because it expires in 24 hours, right? You can give a date, 24 hours, 48 hours, but give them a timed amount of time to take action, which is something I didn't say in the reel, but I'm telling you all now because that's where we saw our students have results, is that they gave them a timeline. Then for people who said not yet, you say, hey, thanks so much for taking this poll. I'd love to offer you a 15% off coupon on your first purchase. You would drop in your website and you'd give them the coupon code. It could be a different coupon code. Make sure to use it in the next 24 hours or whatever you want to give them to try it out kind of thing. And what you're doing there is that's called social selling. They're engaging with you, they're interacting, and you're offering a coupon, which a lot of you already do offer a coupon online of like first orders. And we saw we got so many messages. One person made $8,000 from doing this.
Right.
Another person made $15,000 from doing this. Another person made 8 sales, but it was 8 more sales than they had ever made. So that's just a very simple tip.
Some people did 1 sale, 3 sales. I mean, when you think about it though, they would never have made those sales had they not actively done the ask, if they hadn't socially sold, right? If they were thinking that person on social media is going to listen to them and instead simply go click at their leisure and buy something from them, right? They did the ask in the DM with the poll.
And so that's one version of a poll. Another poll could be like, and we talked about this with Jasmine Star when she was on the podcast, pine scent or citrus scent. You let them kind of engage with you as they feel like they're giving you feedback on the business because they like to see behind the scenes. And when they do, you could say like, hey, thanks so much for taking that poll. It's really going to help us create our collection for the holidays. You might all have your collections planned, but make them feel engaged. And then say, I'd love to offer you a coupon. Here's an early access coupon before it goes out, or an early access to Black Friday. They're like, wow, thank you so much. They're not expecting you to engage with them in the DM and to give them these offers. But this is the kind of thing that pushes customers over the edge. And they're just like, they're delighted and surprised by your customer service.
Because the thing with social selling is really that it replaces in a way how if somebody were to walk into your brick and mortar at a local level, you would greet them at the door and you would say, how are you today? How can I help you? What are you looking for? Right? They would greet you at the door. Same thing for if you had a booth at at a farmer's market, please do not be on your phone. You are literally standing up and say, hey, hi, are you finding what you need? What can I help you with? Right? You pull them into your booth to get them there. And so social selling is the version of that. You are literally acting as if you're right in front of them and you're helping them through making a sale. And I know we say this for website too, but they're not on your website right now. They're on Instagram or whatever it is. And you just help them through that way.
And remember, and this is why like the polls work, right? People want to be seen and heard. So once they know that you see them and you hear them, they will take action. So just being like, ooh, this person saw, like, no, I haven't bought it yet. Oh, that's so convenient of them to give me this coupon code and this timeline in which to order so I can get that discount just from taking a poll on Instagram, right? So they want to be seen and heard. And the other thing you could do with polls is you can help problem solve, right? You can do quizzes in your stories. You can ask a series of questions and then you can personally message them recommendations. So you or products or bundles, right? So you might be like, this holiday season, who are you shopping for? Who's the hardest person on your list to shop for right now? Mom, mother-in-law. We were talking about this earlier in our mastermind, right? Like those are the two people for me that I'm always like, what do I get these people? My mom, I've bought her a present every year of my life almost. And
oh my gosh. And my mom's brutally honest. I mean, I got her this thing. I got her this really beautiful bag that and filled it up with a whole bunch of like special masks, all these things for her to have a relaxing day. And then my sister and I, we put it together. It was such a beautiful gift. And we're like, Mom, do you like it? And she's like, kind of. Oh, and I'm just like, this woman and her honesty, let me tell you.
You're like, you can really be a little less honest, Mom. Just say, oh, it's not like James's grandma's. I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is so lovely. And you're like, it's not, but thank you. So think about that, right? You could poll your customers and be like, who's the hardest person for you to shop from? Mom or mother-in-law? And then maybe the next slide is like, dad or father-in-law or like husband or wife. Like you could poll in those ways. You're problem solving for them. And then you can message them and you could be like, hey, here are 3 gift ideas from our small business that you can you can sell to your mom. Like Copper Hummingbird, for example, she does these amazing hummingbird feeders. Like she's been featured on BuzzFeed. She's in our mastermind. It's Nancy. And she was saying, this isn't really my season because it's not really hummingbird season. But a whole group of people in our mastermind were like, actually, Nancy, your thing is perfect for my mom or my mother-in-law, right? Because it's one of those things of like, that they care about their garden. And then someone else was like, my father-in-law is obsessed with his garden. So all of a sudden we were like, if you offered us that idea when we were in search of gifts and you said, here's a solution for you, customer, we'd be like, thank you so much for that solution. You've solved a problem for me leading into this gift giving time. I will buy it and thank you. And I'll remember you for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what was number 2? Do we have anything for number 2?
I just got here. DMs. Okay.
Yes.
So direct messages, DMs. How do you use it? Okay. So that's another way to social sell. A lot of you that follow us on Instagram have gotten DMs from us.
Yeah.
When we have our challenges, we message you and we say, hey, did you know that this challenge is starting? Hey, did you know the doors to Multi-Stream Machine are opening? We do this in text message as well. But from social perspective, it's our way of letting our customers know. And it's not a bot. It is real human beings at the keyboard typing to each of you. And so how do we choose who we type to? Well, it depends on what we're doing. We might go through all of our followers. We might interact with the people who have commented recently on our posts. It's up to you on that strategy, but I don't want you to all overlook DM as customer relationship, creation and management, and also a way to sell to them.
Yeah. And there's different ways. You can definitely just simply message a text message, but if you want to over deliver, you can definitely do voice notes, for example. I do not recommend doing video though, because Instagram
You're always scared what's going to be on the other side.
Well, Instagram automatically blurs the image. It feels scary because of privacy and things like that. So I never actually watch videos unless I know who it's from. But I would say voice and DM or voice and text is normal and people love it. And also or you could just simply send a GIF, the Giphy is attached to it a lot of times. So you could send that as well as you're sending messages back and forth. We learned this one technique, I guess you would call it. I mean, Chris Voss, he's the negotiator for the FBI. He does masterclass. He does this thing called mirroring. And what you do is you mirror whatever the other person is doing. So when you're in text message DM, one tip is that you mirror how they text. So if they use a lot of emojis, that means signals to you it's okay to use emojis. If they are, I don't know, like cursing, I guess, then you know that it's probably okay that you're cursing, so you mirror what they do as far as selling to them. But I would say like right now you're gauging comfort zone, building a relationship, all of that as well.
Question for you, Product Boss. How much time, effort, and money do you spend promoting your business each year? Do you feel like it's paying off? Are you getting tons of visibility, or do you feel like you're struggling to get more eyes on your products? This is exactly why we created the Small Business Shopping Directory. The Small Business Shopping Directory is an all-in-one place for customers to shop, discover, and support small product businesses every day. It's a place for you to be visible to new customers and get discovered. The Small Business Shopping Directory is the #1 small product-based business directory that gets your business in front of thousands of customers who want to support and buy from small businesses just like yours. It's a perfect way to get your products in front of eager buyers this season without having to spend thousands on ads. Our goal is to get you more visibility and to get more eyes on your business. And here's the best part. We're doing this together. The directory is a way for small businesses like yours to join forces and create a big impact because customers can finally find you online and offline. They can support you with their purchasing power. It will take all of us to create this movement of supporting small, and we can do it together. So, are you in? We invite you to join the Small Business Shopping Directory. This is your personal invitation to get listed today. You can get up and running in just minutes. So don't wait. You can join now and get your listing by heading to shop1in5.com and click on the link to get listed. So ways that I would approach this, you're like, well, how do I get them into the DM? One, you could message people, hey, so-and-so, thank you for leaving a comment on my post. We have this early Black Friday sale happening. Like, are you on our email list? Like, you could ask that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that you know that like when it drops, I could add you to it. This would be part of our, terms and conditions, whatever, that you're being added to my email list. So if people are commenting, you can also, your call to action in your posts could be, have a question about your size, your fit. You want to talk about let's say you do cosmetics and you're like, DM me and we can walk through like what a regimen would be. And you take conversations, like we said in the very beginning, that you would have in person and you take them over to the DM. I mean, any of you in skincare can be like, DM me for a skin regimen. And then you ask them simple questions. What do you need to know? Is your skin oily, dry, or what do they call it? Mixed
combination.
Thank you. Okay, great. Okay. Well, there's this really cool regimen. It's this, and this. I can send you the links to each of these for you. Like if you want, would that help you? But you can get into conversation with them. You don't have to go to the sale first. James, my husband, at some point had found this I think he got served up an ad for this men's skincare line. He had questions, especially when it comes to skincare. He had questions. So he's married to me. He knows about how I use the DM. And so he goes and DMs this company and he's like, hey, I've got these like things with my skin. Like, what would you recommend? Radio silence, never heard from them, never purchased from them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If they had come back and be like, hey, James has a blue check mark. My husband has a blue check mark. Like he gets a lot of responses because like if you ever want to complain about something, if you have a blue check mark, they're going to read your DM, let's say. So they didn't respond to him. And if they had come back and be like, great, tell me about your skin. Oh yeah, I think these products would be great. He would have trusted them.
He would have felt
taken care of, and he would have made the purchase and he probably would have bought hundreds of dollars worth of skincare. So I want you all to think about the DM as that customer relation and like, how can you solve problems? But you need to call them into the DM, or if they like leave you a happy face or respond to a story, get into conversation with people. Yeah. See how you can meet their needs.
Yeah. I mean, before when I was talking about like you used to have to get on a phone call, the reason why they call it cold calling is because you're literally calling these people and they're not expecting it at all. But if they're interacting with you on social media, there's a warmth that's already started. They know that you exist, they're following you, and they're interacting with you. So this is a mode of communication for you to use the DM and to start up a conversation with them.
Yeah. And so going back to some of you may have gotten voice notes from me in the past because I like to leave voice notes. But what you can do is you if you want to do video, let's say you get in a conversation with them and you're like, oh yeah, let me show you the two products we're talking about. I'll send you a quick video of them each, right? I'll show you this one and I'll show you that one. Is that okay? You can ask for permission because you want customers to say yes. So would that be okay if I can send you two videos showing you all the 360 view of these products to help you make a decision. Wow, that would be amazing, right? You can go back and forth on voice. Some of us like voice more than texting, and it can be text. It can also be photos. So I just want you to think about DMing as a direct way of communicating with your customers. And you just want to keep in mind, like, how do I meet their needs here? How can I make it easier for them to purchase from me, right? How can I help them? You always want to come at this from like, how do you serve your customers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So final one.
Mm-hmm. It's a surprise to me too.
The live launch. It's like you fell asleep when we planned this podcast.
I did. I retain no knowledge, I feel like, because it's like, I don't know what's going to come out of your mouth. Okay, live launch. Okay, so this is one where it feels like it goes hand in hand very well with social selling because we see it often. And we see it where, I mean, Annika of Hey Mavens in our community, she's also our masterminder. She's also a multi-stream machine student. Everybody knows her. And she is spectacular at the live launch because she's a natural salesperson. She naturally sells to them. So live launch is kind of the bucketed time where you are kind of bookmarking when something launches and you're selling, usually limited quantities on something. And then, and then the sale is over or the debut is over or the launch is over. It doesn't have to be discount driven. I know people think that sale means discount. It does not, but literally it means launching something to sell to people in a given amount of time, right? So live launching and social selling go together really well because then you're setting it to calendar and to product on when you're going to be socially selling something in particular.
So we've seen, our students, our masterminders do this in the way that they may have a Facebook group and they go live into the Facebook group and they sell. They may also be selling through stories where it's like, here are these images. Like, do you like the medium or the large of this, in one color, this or that, and like swipe up to buy or click on this link to buy. It might be that they go live and do IG lives, but they don't just show up live, right? They don't just like pop on out of the blue and they're like, hey, I'm going to sell and nobody's here watching me. They build up that momentum of like new launch, new drop,
it's an event.
It's an event. You might be like, the holiday collection is coming. And you might post about that. And you might email your customers and say like holiday drop or our gift guide event. We're going to go live on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Be there. You send reminders in the email. You send DMs. You post about it. You talk about it. You do one of those ticker countdowns. And then you show up live and you make it fun. And you're like, hey, everybody, I'm so excited to share with you the new holiday collection. Do you like that? That's like my anti-influencer voice. That's like my sales voice.
It's your hype girl voice.
So excited to share this with you. We've got so many cool things. We're going to go through these. I'm going to show them. There's limited quantities. Make sure to get your orders in early because shipping, there's no guarantee with shipping. We can talk about it. You can ask me questions. And then you have your products around you. This does not need to be perfect or professional. This could be in your studio. This can be really anywhere.
I mean, ideally doesn't have to be, the whole thing of it is it's more so like HSN and QVC, where like if you're going live, which Annika, since she sells handmade lingerie, she does a panty drop every Friday, right? And then there's the other version where you're live launching, and we actually have this boutique in Ankeny that's called Mint LA, and they go on, I can't remember what day it is. I want to say it's Tuesdays that they go on, they try a bunch of clothes on. So you know what they look like on their their bodies. And they're like, okay, this model is wearing like a size medium or whatever. And you can kind of gauge it and they tell you like the weight and the height and stuff, you know? So it's literally like you get to see, you live vicariously through that person. Like they're trying on clothes for you. They're talking about it. There's a sweater that I thought was really cool that I've never heard someone describe it as this, but it's one of those really fuzzy sweaters, but it's like, they call it popcorn, where it's like, you know, kind of the texture of popcorn, I guess. And I was like, oh, okay, now I understand because I'm seeing it with my very own eyes and they're describing to me the texture, you know? And so I think it's really about that too, because you're really selling, you're literally there to sell in a certain amount of time and it feels exciting and fun too.
So I know that feels like some of you are like,
yeah, this is more like level 2. I feel like level 4, maybe level 5, you know?
This is depending on your comfort level, but we've talked about Maureen even of Blythe Baubles, who used to be, we call her a video queen now, but she was so scared of selling live that she, you know, or not selling live, even showing her face, that she would show her ear and like nothing else. Like I showed my face. We're like, it's literally your ear and your jaw, but like jawline, you know? And then all of a sudden you see her getting on and she uses our video scripts, for example, but gets on and she might be in the car or she might be sitting outside in her deck chair and she just goes and this is her just doing 1-minute videos, posting it as a post, not even as a live, and being like, hey, I wanted to show you these new earrings that are out. They're this, they're that, this, and there's a call to action. If you want them, go to the link in my bio or swipe up, depending on how many followers you have. You can do the swipe up feature, or now it's a sticker. And she sold. And she showed herself on video, and people were paying attention because people buy from people. Because remember how you all are like, oh, I should have listened to you when we said build your email list. The other thing you should hear us in your head say is people buy from people. Right? It's real, true connection.
Oh, 100%. Right. We talk about know, like, and trust. If people don't trust you, they will not buy from you. And if they need to trust you, you need to show your face a little, or they need to feel like they trust you. It's the quickest way. Video is really the quickest way to get somebody to trust you because I would say video and audio because you get to see if someone's being authentic or not. But if you are really scared to socially sell, the other way too is like what Jacqueline said, it's doing posts and behind the scenes and whatnot. But also like we sometimes will see like, you know, when the pandemic hit, for example, there was, I forget what it was called. I'm trying to like dig real deep in my memory, but she basically brought all her stuff in from the boutique and she took her stuff and it was like antiqued theme like stuff that she had in her boutique, and she literally sold out of her husband's workshop. He was a woodworker. Like, what do you call those? Wood shop. Duh.
You know, I like to say whittled wood. So
yeah. It was his wood shop, and it was literally like nothing fancy or anything. It was like cement walls, you know, sort of thing. And she literally showed like the item. She would take a picture. I remember there's this like rustic water pitcher, and she would just have the price on there. But she was the one who was talking, and resonated with her. They knew that she was the business owner. But when it came to selling, she actually would post, you know, here's the water pitcher, here's this, here's that. And she sold that way. So they were literally like looking through a catalog. And
that's such a good point. So like you could do this live, or you could do posts, or you could do a series of stories where you're like, hey, you know, come join me on Friday. What?
I forgot this was the live launching tidbit. Like I said, are you paying attention to this podcast?
You jumped back in your memory to early 2020. So there's something there.
Yeah, there's something here. Okay, yes. But the live launch of it, yes, you're right.
But even the live launch. So let's just say you're like, never will I ever go live, ladies. Thank you for that tip. I'm going to skip over this tip, which is totally fine. You could also do this whole idea of live, meaning like in real time, where you're like, okay, holiday launch is coming. Maybe you don't show your face, but you do like a story that says, you know, you let people know this is dropping. This is like the new collection out, fall favorites, whatever it is. And then it's live because the event is live. And then you post stories, and it might be your voice showing, I don't know, let's say you sell water bottles, showing the water bottle and being like, I've got a water bottle in front of me, but I'm like, you know, showing the water bottle and being like, this is our pink water bottle. It's long. We only have 3 of these. First 3 people to DM us, we'll get the link to buy it. Right.
Right.
You can also do things live like that. It feels a little bit like an auction, but you can if you're one of a kind items, they can tap on it and they can DM you, and the first person to check out gets it. Sorry if you missed it.
For sure. Like I saw this one that was small batch pottery, and she does drops of pottery, and her highlights were called small batch 1, small batch 2, or whatever, different collections. And once they were sold, they were sold. Like they were just, you could only, like sometimes there'd be 10 stories in there of the items, and sometimes only 2 because there's only 2 items left, you know?
Right.
So that is different than a live launch, I would say. That might be that post-launch, launching live, or that's
Or I
what's
guess it's
remaining
live.
small
Like
batch.
if it's in real time though, it's technically live.
Yeah,
It's in
that's
real
true.
time. You're just doing it differently than us like saying go do your own QVC HSN show.
Yeah.
Because it's time scarcity and you're ramping people up to it, you're dropping it, and you're letting them kind of raise their hand and say, I want to buy that.
And it's done all through social media.
Yeah. So there are apps out there that you can use, like the LuLaRoe folks that were consultants used to do this idea, because LuLaRoe was very much about like, I don't know if everybody was looking for like the red lipstick shirt in an extra large, and like you follow different consultants in LuLaRoe, and like you were watching their video and they were like, here's the red lipstick shirt in extra large. First person to comment gets it. Right. And they had this whole way of selling online. This is a big way that some of this was created. Some of this big business was created. And then like the whole app, there's an app out there called Comments Sold. That app was created by LuLaRoe people who built businesses off of selling live on these free platforms like Facebook and Instagram. And this was an app that helped them transact going live. So that's again, next level. We should go there.
That's level 2 again. So we're getting into, we should have said at the beginning of the episode, we're going to get.
Should have just ended this
No,
5 minutes ago.
No. That there's going to be lots of ideas here, but you know what we like to say, and that is keep it simple, seller, KISS, right? So the easiest thing that you can do is simply go through the DMs. So there's like a care and a high touch to it, but also just to social selling at its core is essentially selling on social media and taking care of your customers in a certain way. And we're giving you different ways that you can do it. Sometimes it requires you to challenge yourself to be on video, and sometimes it doesn't. You know, like you don't have to at all. You can literally do a poll, like our first recommendation. Do a poll, send out DMs. That can be what it is too. And you could keep it simple, seller.
So can you all do me a favor and go over to our Instagram, make sure you're following at The Product Boss, go find that reel in our reels highlight, or our reels that says, you know,
we'll do the link in the show notes.
Okay. Go to it, watch it, because I show you
follow
how
us,
to do it.
You know, obviously follow us.
Leave me a comment and say that you heard about it on the podcast, right? I'd love to know how many of you, here's my call to action. I'd love to know how many of you take action from us asking you to take action from this podcast and saying, go over to Instagram, right? I don't know if you follow us because you've listened to the podcast, but if you go comment on that reel and watch it, then it'll prove to us that there's conversion.
Trend alert. This is called podcast selling. Just kidding.
This is us getting you to Instagram, because that's where we literally converse with thousands and thousands of you. But not only that, I'd like to see that sort of happen. So go over to Instagram, find that reel and comment on it, watch it and comment on it, because it's going to show it. Because if you took anything away from here, the trend and prediction is social selling is on the rise. We'll probably be talking about it more. The simplest way for you to do this, the very first way, the way that we saw people actually get results, was do that story.
That
this
poll.
Or that story, the yes or not yet, right? That's the simplest one you can do. And then you can keep doing it. You can do versions of this. Like you can run this through the entire holiday season and get into your DMs. And then if you're level 2 or you're more extroverted or you're comfortable on camera, try the live launch or a version of that. But like Mina said, pull it back, and as simple as a poll and getting into the DMs with your customers, and you will see your business start to transform.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for being here and listening all the way through the Product Boss podcast. If you love our show and it has helped you in any way in your business, would you mind doing 2 things for us? Subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review. Reviews help other product entrepreneurs know that this is the place to be to grow their businesses and realize that they're not alone. And we know that you all know that a 5-star and honest review helps you sell more products to more people. So you know that your reviews help us reach more listeners around the world. Remember, what we give is what we receive, and we are all about helping each other in the Product Boss community. We are all in this together. We would be so appreciative of you if you could take the time right now to subscribe, leave a review, And even share this episode on social or someone you know so we can impact more lives. And remember, subscribing means that you will get notified each time we release a new episode so you never miss a thing. You have helped us grow and climb into the top 10 of all marketing podcasts, and together we can keep climbing. Thank you, friends. And remember, there is room at the top for all of us. This episode is brought to you by the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge and Small Business Shopping Directory. It's a commitment to make 1 in 5 of your purchases from a small business online or offline. So head to shop1in5.com to take the pledge. And friend, while you are there, check out and shop from hundreds of small businesses in the Small Business Shopping Directory. It's the go-to directory to discover, support, and shop small businesses all in one place. Head to shop1in5.com.